And in today's video, we're going to be looking at one of the fastest decks in the Pokemon trading card game right now. With rotation finally being here, I've been having a lot of fun experimenting with different grass type decks. I feel like grass is a very unsolved type in the Pokemon trading card game right now. Everybody's using like Forest of Vitality and Meganium and stuff, and those cards are very good. However, I feel like Yanmega EX is a card that nobody is talking about, and maybe they should be. Let's get to the deck list. Already here at that deck list, starting us off with Yanmega EX, the main attacker in this deck. Yanmega EX has the ability Buzzing Boost. Once during your turn, when Pokemon moves from your bench to the active spot, you may search your deck for up to 3 basic grass energy cards and attach them to this Pokemon. And then its attack Jet Cyclone for 3 grass and 1 colorless energy, 210 damage, allows you to move 3 energy from this Pokemon to one of your benched Pokemon. So being able to just turbo 3 grass energies right to your Yanmega is kind of insane. And then just moving them to your set up Yanmega on the bench or a Yanma and just keep cycling those energies over and over again like that is pretty good. Now for our draw engine here, we are playing the Dunsparce and the Dunsparce draw engine. With that 1-array draw, once during your turn you may draw 3 cards. If you drew any cards in this way, you shuffle this Pokemon and all attached cards into your deck. And then we're playing 1 copy of the Dunsparce EX. This is really able to kind of help us get around Cornerstone-esque Ogerpon. It has the first attack Tenacious Tail for 1 colorless energy 60 times. This attack does 60 damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon EX in play, which can definitely scale as the game goes on, and as the more EXs they have in play, Tenacious Tail can do some pretty high damage. And then its second attack, Destructive Tail, for 150 damage. This attack's damage isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. I'm looking at you, Crustle, which is another good thing that this deck needed to be able to move around. 1 copy of Pheasantiply EX, 1 copy of Badoo for that item lock, and then for the trainers here, it's pretty simple. 4 Lilies, 4 Boss, 3 Morty's Conviction is a little interesting. However, I feel like this card is kind of broken in this deck. You can only use this card if you discard another card from your hand, and then you draw a card for each of your opponent's benched Pokemon, which I feel like is just one of those really good cards that kind of clean clutter out of your hand, but then also just being able to draw more cards is nice. 1 copy of Zoroark's Machinations, 1 copy of Judge for a little disruption, 4 copies of Buddy Buddy Poffin, 4 copies of Pokepad, 4 Ultra Ball, 3 Pokegear, 1 Energy Recycler. We gotta get the grass energies back in the deck somehow. 1 copy of Unfair Stamp for our ace pick of choice. Unfair Stamp after rotation is just broken. It's kind of Unfair Stamp or bust for most decks, I feel like. 10 copies of that Grass Energy, 2 copies of Mist Energy for Dragapult matchup, and then 2 copies of Nighttime Mine for our stadium here. Attacks used by each Terra Pokemon in play cost 1 more, which is going to be very helpful into your Dragapult matchup and kind of things like that. Let's get to the gameplay. Already here at that gameplay, this deck is so fast and aggressive that I actually have 3 different games to show you in this video, and the video is not even more than 20 minutes long, which is kind of crazy to me. So starting us off, we do have Fez in the active spot, which is not really where we want to be. However, our starting hand's pretty solid. We got Pokepad, we got Buddy Buddy Poffin in hand as well, which is going to be pretty nice. Getting a Mist Energy, it's pretty good if we're playing against Dragapult. We also have 2 copies of Ultra Ball in our hand as well, and it looks like we're playing up against a Lunatone, so maybe a Lucario Hariyama deck, which Yanmega just loves to see. I've been farming Lucarios and Cynthia's Garchomp like crazy with this deck on the rank ladder, and you can be too, because I'll make sure to put the deck list that I played in today's video in the description below, ready for copy paste into TCG Live. Now our opponent here is going to use that Lunar Cycle, draw a couple cards, retreat out of the Lunatone into the Solrock, which is a pretty solid single prize attacker, especially in those kind of decks as well. Buddy Buddy Poffin here, we're going to get Yanma, and I'm looking at that Badoo, doing a little item lock here. It's kind of looks like we're eyeing up. Pokepad here as well, kind of eyeing up a Dunsparce. We do need to kind of start with a draw engine at some point. So that's what I'm going to grab. I'm going to grab that Dunsparce here, put that into play, and now I know that we're playing against Lucario Hariyama, so I could attach the Mist Energy to the Fez. However, I don't for whatever reason, and I just attach the Grass Energy instead, which is probably not what I should have done, but it's alright. Pokegear for Lose Determination. Ultra Ball, gonna pitch Ultra Ball in Mist Energy to grab ourselves another Dunsparce. Throw that Dunsparce into play. Lose Determination, never punish. We're gonna get another Yanma in play here. And we do get a Yanma in hand. We can use Buddy Poffin to thin if we wanted to get the Yanma instead, which is what we go for here, actually. And then we're just gonna Itchy Pollen for 20. Getting that item log, and we're ahead of the game. I mean, we are ready to just start evolving into Yanmegas, and our opponent knows it. They're under item log. There's nothing they can do about it. Really just being able to apply so much pressure so quickly is this deck's strategy. Let's get to game 2. Already here at game 2, we are going to be going first. Now, this deck can go second. That's the nice thing about going second. Like you saw in that first game, that Badoo item lock is really strong. However, going first is also really good. It allows us to be able to evolve our Dunsparces into Dunsparces, and more importantly, our Yanmas into Yanmegas as quickly as possible. But first, we're going to get Buddy Poffin here for a Badoo and a Dunsparce, and then we're going to attach a Gratis Energy to the benched Yanma. Pokepad here could be a good card to just save, and I do end up holding on to it, and the reason I do is because I'm hoping I can find myself the Dunsparce to be able to get some cards in my hand that I might need next turn. Now, our opponent is on that Cynthia's Garchomp, and like I said, I've been farming Lucario and Cynthia's Garchomp like crazy with this deck. I mean, they're just such free matchups because our deck is so much faster and aggressive than Lucario is and Cynthia's Garchomp that, like, I'm just taking knockouts on Gibbles and Garchomps, I mean, before they can even do anything. So we're going to have a Yanmega here, and this is a little interesting. I believe I end up making a misplay here, and I do end up evolving the active, which is not what I wanted to do. And you see me click on it, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe I just did that. But not a big deal. Pokepad here, going to get ourselves to Dunsparce. And if we just don't get punished, I mean, then that's kind of crazy. And we don't end up getting punished, actually. So I can evolve the benched Yanma into Yanmega, and then be able to attach the energy to the active, retreat into the other Yanmega, buzzing boost, getting 3 energies shoved right to that Yanmega. And we still have Lose Determination as well, and Boss, but I'm going to go for Boss here, knocking at that Gibble with the energy on it, 420 damage, and then we're just going to move 3 energies right to our benched Yanmega. And now we're ahead in the prize trade. We've already taken a prize. We've knocked out their Gibble that had an energy on it. They only have 3 cards in hand. I have a Yanmega set up in the back. I have Lilies to draw more cards. I have Zerosix if they draw too many cards and disrupt them. I have Ultra Ball to find myself another Dunsparce. I mean, we're sitting in a pretty good spot here. Our opponent going to use that Champion's Call ability. Now, you better find a Gibble because I'm going to take a knockout on that Gabite here pretty soon. They find the Rose Raid, and then they end just using, you know, an attack for 40 damage. So I'm like, all right, not a big deal. We're just going to Lilies here, not a big deal. Going to just keep getting set up, get a Dunsparce. You know, we're going to get an Ultra Ball here, get rid of the Pokegear and the Dunsparce EX. And we're going to go into another Dunsparce just to get some draw engine going again. And then bench that and the Yanma, retreat into that Yanmega. And then I'm just going to go for 1 energy, attached to the Yanmega EX, Jet Cyclone for 420 damage, and then boom, throw 3 energies right onto our bench Yanmega EX. And our opponent knows what it is. I've taken 2 knockouts on your Gibbles, and you're not coming back. I'm already up 2 prizes, and that's just how it goes. Let's get to game 3. Already here at game 3. Now, for the first 2 games, we've had some, you know, pretty fast and aggressive starts, and this deck is what you want to be doing with that. Now, you can have long methodical games with this deck. You do end up running out of gas, so you want to try to win your games very quickly. I feel like this deck is almost like the new Miraidon, kind of in a way. That's how this deck has felt to me. Very fast, very aggressive, just generating, and we're trying to go as quickly as we possibly can. That's kind of how this deck feels as well. So, we got a Badoo in the active spot, Dunsparce, we got Yanma with an energy, we have the Dunsparce and Yanmega in our hand. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. We're literally going to win the game right here. I literally go, okay, evolve into the Dunsparce, evolve into Yanmega, retreat into the Yanmega, buzzing boost, get the 3 energies, shove it to the Yanmega EX, Jet Cyclone for the knockout, and we just donked. I mean, we literally, our opponent didn't even get to play the game. We just turboed that fast. Like, this deck, I cannot express enough how just fast and aggressive this deck is, and I'm loving it. I've climbed to Arceus League with this deck mostly on its own. It's kind of crazy. Definitely make sure you give this deck a shot for sure. I love this deck, and I'm thinking about taking it to my locals here pretty soon. Just got to get my hands on some Yanmega EXs. Let's get to that outro. All right, we're going to go for today's video. Let me know down in the comments as well what you guys think of this Yanmega EX deck. I think this deck is severely underrated right now, and it's so fast and aggressive. You're really able to punish a lot of people if they're just not ready for it. You can catch them off guard pretty quick. And of course, if you're doing content I've been making stuff on the channel, definitely make sure to leave a like, smash the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And of course, also make sure to post the deck list that I played in today's video in the description below, ready for copy paste into TCG Live as always, and post it in the Mega Butts Poke Cove Discord. And just thank you for everything. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for all of your support, and I just look forward to keep making content for you guys and just keep having fun. Alright, it's gonna go for today's video. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!